So let me ask you, Dad. Okay, we got to talk about Montreal. They got rid of their coach and they hired Martin St. Louis.
Tom Duchesne and Kent Hughes made his first move, and Martin St. Louis, eh?
Yep.
Well, Martin St. Louis. I remember in Hockey Night in Canada, I used to call him Martin St. Louis, and they'd get mad. But you know what I think they got him for? Just to be close to the players and say, who do we keep here? Who do we keep on the club? I think it's a smart move, and he's played before. I mean, he's won about.
Well, he played over 1,000 games. He had 391 goals. Won the Art Ross Trophy twice, the Hart Trophy, Lady Byng twice, and. But let me ask you though, Dad. Like he coached his kids hockey and stuff like that. So, does that make him?
No. I know everybody's making fun of that. But I remember when I was in Rochester, New York, in the American Hockey League, or I guess I wasn't with anybody. I was unemployed, couldn't get a job. And Bob Clark, a guy down there, Bob Clark, they were really rich people. They live in Pittsburgh.
Not the Bobby Clark affiliate, it was another
No,
guy.
it's another Bob Clark. And it was in Pittsburgh. You remember Pittsburgh?
Oh, Pittsburgh, yes, outside of Rochester. As you said, that's where all the rich people lived.
Yeah, and he was one of the rich guys. And I said, no, I don't want to coach. I said, I've never coached them before.
So he offered you to.
Well, he said, well, you're not doing anything anyhow.
He wanted you to coach the
high school.
The high school team. And
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to coach.
You know the dynamics behind that, Dad, why he wanted it to, because he had all his kids in Pittsburgh, they had a good public school system there and all this, but then they would play in a league against all the private schools like Aquinas and McQuaid.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and you see, when you had the public schools in the same league as the private schools, which were Catholic schools, because, in the States, if you're Catholic, you want to do your religion in school, you pay for it. They had all the best teams. They had all the best equipment. They had all the best of everything.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. So
I'm glad you're telling me, Cindy.
Well, this was the truth. So this is what happened. It was a public school, and that's why the Clarks and all the people who eventually bought the Rochester Americans, remember?
Yes.
They wanted to beat the Aquinas and all the private Catholic schools. So they said, who could we get?
Well, I didn't want to do it, but anyhow, getting back to what we're talking about, I remember first time I was behind the bench with, I said, holy smokes, but I learned how to put the lines together. I learned how to switch the lines. I learned the defense. I learned how to practice. I didn't learn. I've been in about 100 million practices, but I learned, and I did. And when I was made halfway, sometime I must go through this whole thing. When I was made, and then I made a comeback, and halfway through the season, I was made coach
of Rochester Americans.
And I knew exactly what to do. I knew how to change the lines. And so when the people make fun of him because he coached some minor hockey, it really helped.
Yeah, like you were saying, that's where you learned all that stuff behind the bench.
I
right?
knew it all. I knew exactly what to do.
Hey, remember, you kept on coaching the high school team, because remember a couple times we were going into the playoffs for Pittsburgh, and you had to catch a plane for Rochester to go away.
Oh,
and you were coaching both teams, the high school.
Well, after a while, that high school team. No, I remember. I tried to remember the names. It was Jay Hill was center.
Yeah, we talked about
Eddie Scott was a right winger. Al Vivaberg and John Hoff was on the point. And
Parker, the goalie.
Parker was the goalie. And Nisley. He was the smartest guy of them all. And boy, you put that puck, and we used to feed that point, and I used to call them screamers. About 6 inches off the ice or along the ice. If the other team got a penalty, it was automatic.
Yeah, but the reality was you weren't the coach, because a teacher had to coach, right?
The woman gym teacher, Nancy, she had to be.
I forgot about all that.
Yeah, she had to be.
She had to be the real coach.
She was officially the coach.
Oh yeah, we had a picture taken.
Because the thing was, she had to be in touch with the kids to keep their grades up.
Oh,
but you had to be a teacher.
You had to be a teacher, and the whole deal. It was really quite.
So I remember when we'd come to practice, she'd be in the stands reading a book.
I remember her. She was a nice person.
She was
too.
really nice,
Really
and
nice.
she kept the kids in line too.
Yeah.
You know, with keeping up their studies and the whole
Boy,
deal.
I tell you though, you get a penalty against us, you're done.
But remember, the first year when the little kids were in ninth grade, you lost every single game. The first year,
And the second year, I lost in overtime. Remember that?
and against McQuade. Oh, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah, and the third year.
Third year, and their junior year of high school.
And
Look
the
out.
guy, I remember the guy, I think at Aquinas High School, not that this means anything, the guy quit for that year. Oh, did we? We were smashing.
The coach Aquinas quit because he didn't want to get beat because he was like the big.
He was the big cheese again of the league, and
anyhow, I don't know how we got into that.
But if we were Martin St. Louis, what do you do? Like,
well, I wouldn't do anything. I'd just take a look at the guys, and
so you write this year off.
This year is written off. They better be careful. I'm sure they want to get Shane Wright, and he's dynamite. And
but remember when I think the one thing with Martin St. Louis, that people
what do you win? What do you win? Holy smokes, he won.
Well, I say he won the Art Ross twice, so scoring title, right?
So
and then he won Conn Smythe, Hart Trophy twice.
Well, I remember Babcock.
Yeah, in the Olympics.
Yeah, in the Olympics. He said, I don't want him. And he says, I've got a style I want to play, and that's it.
Well, him and
Subban. Yeah.
That was 2014. And because I think what happened was Stamkos got hurt, so they had to get one more player. And the dynamics was Yzerman was the general manager of Tampa. And so everybody thought, well, St. Louis won like the scoring title.
Yeah.
And Babcock said no, so Stamkos had to go to St. Louis. And
well,
say
let me
no.
just tell you what happened. They knew they were not wanted. I'm sure that if I knew and everybody else knew. So I was at the practice. I was overseas. Where's that? Where's that? Russia?
Yeah, Sochi. Yeah, Russia.
Yeah. Anyhow, what was I doing over in Russia? But anyhow, I was there, and I saw him tell St. Louis and Subban that practice that, you're not going to play. And Subban's pretty sharp. He just, he just kept, and St.Louis went right off the ice.
Yeah.
And
what? I don't think he played in a game though.
No.
And Subban got in one game or something.
Yeah,
like that.
he played when.
Canada was so good.
So how did we get into this?
No, just talk about Martin St. Louis. I hope.
Martin St. Louis.
I hope he does well.
I hope he does well too.
Yeah. So, but next year hopefully they get Price back and Weber back and.
Where they go? The Price.
They're playing.
No, I don't know about Price. I wonder about Price. I'm just wondering if I hope I'm wrong, but because I remember in the prospect game he was dynamite. He was absolutely fantastic, and he can play like that. But if if things aren't going right for him, it's too bad.
Well, Montreal,
$10 million.
Yeah, Montreal's paying 3 coaches now.
Yeah, they're playing Julien
$5 million.
$5 million, and they're paying
Ducharme was $1 million. And
I don't think.
You think they're paying Price?
They're paying him all right.
Yeah, but I think if he's on long-term injury, I think insurance pays it or something like that.
But
break.
anyhow, you've got this guy who potentially could be the best goaltender in the National Hockey
And you can't trade him.
Oh, nobody. I mean, would you trade him $10 million? And you'd have to.
Let's say Montreal eats $5 million of this contract.
Well, I don't know about that.
But anyway, I hope he does well. I mean,
I hope they all do well.